What if you could stop using AI just as a chatbot and actually use it like a virtual workforce? Imagine giving AI a task like research this market, create content around this topic, prepare a marketing campaign, help me with sales outreach. And instead of manually prompting AI for every single step, you had specialized AI agents working through the different parts of the task. Sounds interesting, right? Well, that's the idea behind Claw AI Army. According to the platform, Claw AI Army gives you access to hundreds of AI skills and dozens of multi-step workflow agents designed for different types of business and productivity tasks. It includes areas like content creation, research, product launches, e-commerce, sales, and agency workflows. But the big question is Claw AI Army actually useful, or is this just another AI tool with a lot of impressive-sounding features? That's exactly what we're going to look at in today's video. I'll explain what Claw AI Army is, how it works, the different AI agents it offers, who it could be useful for, the things you should consider before buying, and finally, whether I think it's worth checking out. So let's get started. Let's start with the basics. Claw AI Army is designed around the idea of AI agents. Now, if you've used tools like ChatGPT, you already know that you can ask AI to write something, research something, brainstorm ideas, summarize information, or help you complete a task. But there's usually one problem. You have to keep telling the AI what to do next. For example, let's say you want to launch a product. You might first ask AI to research your audience. Then you ask it to create your positioning. Then you ask it for landing page copy. Then you ask it to create emails. Then social media posts. Then advertisements. Then maybe a video script. You're basically acting as the project manager. Claw AI Army is trying to change that approach. Instead of thinking only in terms of individual prompts, the platform focuses on specialized AI workers and workflows. The idea is that you can give the AI a larger assignment and allow the workflow to handle multiple steps. And that's what makes the concept interesting. The basic idea is pretty simple. You choose the type of AI worker or workflow that matches the task you want to accomplish. You provide the necessary information or instructions. The AI then follows the workflow associated with that task and produces the required output. The platform currently advertises 259 skills and 82 multi-step workflow agents. It also says you can interact with the AI through platforms such as WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, and the web. So rather than having to learn a complicated system from scratch, the goal is to make AI feel more like an assistant that you can simply communicate with. And instead of saying, "Write me a social media post," you could potentially give the system a broader objective, such as, "Help me promote this product." That's a much more interesting way of thinking about AI. Now let's take a look at some of the specialized agents promoted by Claw AI Army. First, there's Content Claw. As the name suggests, this focuses on content-related tasks. According to the platform, it can help create different types of content and repurpose information into formats such as articles, emails, and social media posts. This could be useful for content creators, marketers, freelancers, and business owners who constantly need new content. Instead of starting from a blank page every time, you could potentially use an existing workflow to speed up the process. Next, we have Research Claw. This is designed around research. The platform describes it as helping users work with information, extract useful insights, and create structured reports. This could be useful if your work involves reading a lot of information and turning it into something organized. For example, if you're researching a market, product, competitor, or particular topic, an AI workflow could potentially help organize the information and create a starting point for your analysis. However, this is also an area where you should be careful. AI-generated research should always be checked, especially when you're dealing with important facts, statistics, or business decisions. So think of it as a productivity assistant rather than something you should blindly trust. Then we have Launch Claw. This one is particularly interesting if you're launching products, offers, or marketing campaigns. The platform shows workflows designed to help with different parts of a launch. That could include things like positioning, landing page copy, email campaigns, advertisements, social media content, and even video scripts. Normally, you'd have to request each of these separately. The idea here is to connect those tasks together into a larger workflow. And for someone who launches products regularly, that could potentially save a lot of repetitive work. There's also Ecommerce Claw. This is designed for e-commerce related tasks. The platform says it can help with things such as product listings and promotional content. If you manage a large e-commerce catalog, creating and updating product information can become extremely repetitive. So having AI workflows specifically designed around e-commerce could potentially be useful. Again, though, you'll want to review the generated content before publishing it. AI can produce something that sounds good but may still contain incorrect information about a product. Next is Sales Claw. This focuses on sales-related workflows. The platform mentions tasks such as outreach, proposals, follow-ups, and handling objections. For salespeople, freelancers, and business owners, these are tasks that can consume a significant amount of time. Having AI help prepare these communications could potentially make the process faster. But I would still recommend reviewing important customer-facing messages before sending them. You don't want an AI-generated message accidentally sounding inappropriate, inaccurate, or overly generic. And finally, there's Agency Claw. This is aimed more toward agencies and client-based businesses. Agencies often repeat similar processes for different clients. A client gives you a brief. You research it. You create the strategy. You prepare content. You create deliverables. You send them for approval. Then you make revisions. So if AI can help standardize some of those repetitive workflows, it could potentially become useful for agencies that are trying to handle more projects without increasing every manual task. Now let's get to the important question. What makes this different from simply using ChatGPT or another AI chatbot? The answer is workflow automation. A normal chatbot is excellent when you want to have a conversation with AI and ask it to perform individual tasks. But if you're working on a larger project, you often become responsible for connecting all those individual tasks together. Claw AI Army is trying to put more of that process into predefined workflows. So the main selling point isn't necessarily this AI is smarter than every other AI. Instead, it's let's organize AI around the work you need to get done. And I think that's a much more interesting proposition. So who might actually find Claw AI Army useful? First, solo entrepreneurs. If you're running a business by yourself, you may have to handle marketing, content, research, sales, and other repetitive tasks. AI workflows could potentially help reduce some of that workload. Second, content creators. If you're constantly creating articles, emails, social media posts, or video content, content-focused workflows could be useful. Third, freelancers. If you provide similar services to multiple clients, repeatable workflows could potentially help you work more efficiently. Fourth, agencies. This may be one of the strongest potential use cases because agencies often have highly repeatable processes. And fifth, e-commerce sellers. If you're managing lots of products, promotions, and marketing materials, AI assistants could potentially save time. There are a few things I find interesting about the platform. First, the delegation concept. Instead of constantly thinking about prompts, you're thinking about jobs. That's a much more natural way to use AI. Second, specialized agents. Having different AI workers focused on different types of tasks can make the system easier to organize. Third, multi-step workflows. This is probably the biggest potential advantage. If a workflow can reliably connect multiple tasks together, it could save you from repeatedly doing the same manual steps. And fourth, accessibility. The fact that the platform promotes access through channels such as WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, and the web could make it convenient for people who don't want to spend all their time inside a complicated dashboard. But before you get excited and immediately purchase anything, there are a few things you should keep in mind. First, AI isn't magic. Even if a platform has hundreds of skills and dozens of agents, the quality of the final result still depends on the information you provide and how well the workflow performs. You may still need to review and edit the output. Second, don't buy simply because you see a large feature count. Ask yourself, what specific problem am I trying to solve? If you only want an AI to write emails or brainstorm ideas, you may not need a large AI agent platform. But if you have repetitive multi-step workflows that you want to delegate, the value proposition becomes much more interesting. Third, consider privacy and permissions. If you're connecting business accounts or giving an AI system access to documents or customer information, make sure you understand what information the platform handles and what permissions it requires. And finally, check the current pricing, terms, included features, and limitations before purchasing. Those details can change, so don't rely only on promotional claims. If you want to learn more about Claw AI Army and check out the current offer for yourself, I'll leave the link in the description below. You can click the link and take a closer look at the platform, its features, and the current pricing or offer. If you found this review useful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for more AI tool reviews, software reviews, and online business tools. And I want to know what you think. Would you actually use an AI army like this? Or do you prefer using individual AI tools like ChatGPT one task at a time? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.